What's going on, everyone? Nerfherder here. I've got a Scrapflex commission that is for a friend of mine who is I've built for him in the past, and he's an absolute trooper when it comes to patience. This hilt has been a long time in the making. It's done by Dembek at Dembek Relics, a good friend of mine. I'm sure you guys have heard me say his name quite a bit. We joke back and forth a lot, and I talk to him almost daily. He's a good friend. He makes a lot of Scrapflexes and does a lot of cool weathering and does a lot of weathering services and stuff like that, hilt constructions. But he built a Scrapflex, and Gabriel bought it from him and was like, will you install it for me? And this was months ago. This is a while ago, and I'm sorry. There was the CFX went out of stock for a while, and we waited for that to come in. And once it came in, I had to take my time because we did a crystal chamber, a Goth 3D crystal chamber on it, which took a little bit longer than I remembered. It's been a while since I've done one, but this is a 2.5 Scrapflex. There's a 2.0 graflex that was used to convert into this Scrapflex. The only things that I did cosmetically wise to add some touches that Gabriel liked was the clamp card. I got a 2.0 clamp card, the silver one, in passing of somebody else's commission. And originally, these two Greebly glass eyes, Dylan had just the faux ones, so there wasn't an ability to put a cabochon, the little jewels that we like to put into glass eyes to make them just a little extra flair. And so originally it just had very standard ones. So we ordered two new ones with the glass eyes that you can pop out, and I put blue cabochons that I found off of is it gemmountain.com? I don't know. They have a lot of really cool options for gems, but I thought blue would be really cool because it just looked cool with like the leather, the black leather, and then the heat staining that Dylan did. You can see that blue tone in the heating, and I thought it really like matched well with the blue. Like there's just blue, black, and gold. I just thought it was a really cool looking contrast in a Scrapflex. So this thing's got some crazy stuff going on. We'll talk about a little fun after we do all this stuff. I'll give you guys a little inside jokes, but it's very comfortable. It's a lot of fun. I'm gonna go ahead and we'll go ahead and show off the crystal chamber now. So the crystal chamber, I actually had a lot of fun painting. This is another thing that Gabriel was like. He's also somebody who lets me go wild every time. He's like, do your thing. And I did a paint job that's I wanted it to look like it's got some rust in it. Camera might not do it too much justice, but in some of the vents and some of the corners, there's some buildup of, it's all paint because this is a 3D printed piece. This whole chassis is 3D printed. The only thing that is of some kind of metal is these brass rods that hold the bottom chamber holder and the top one, which I actually modified. Really hard to see unless it's in person. I'll try to do some glam shots and throw them at the end of this video, but the top one has a rod coming down and touching the crystal, and that's what kind of like my way of holding it in, because originally this is set for 2 crystals, but I cut a quartz that I had that was just about the right size. Then also really hard to see, but when it hits the light the right way, I put Hasegawa mesh, micro mesh underneath these vents, and 2 red accent LEDs. So there will be some kind of scrolling effect in there to give you just a little bit more flair in the chassis, which is it's fun. I like adding in little blinkies. I don't get too crazy with them. This is installed with a CFX, which is just what I do. That's kind of my thing, if you guys haven't noticed. But you don't have that much ability to. That's the one gripe I have about CFX. A lot of people ask me what's better, and I always say, depends on what you really want. There's different variations for tons of. Every soundboard's good. It's just what do you want to do with the soundboards? Like, where I think Profi shines obviously is the blade styles. Everyone knows that, but also the ability to trick out crystal chambers because you can run separate sequence strips as your LED accents. So that's where it shines. If CFX ever gets to that level, then it'd be pretty set for me. But I don't really go that crazy. I don't want to put a ton of stuff in here anyways as is, because there's already a couple of LEDs and space is very limited. These Goth chambers can get pretty tight when you start slamming in a bunch of strips and accents, and then your wire management is just kind of a hard thing to deal with. So this door slides down, and your SD card is going to be right there. So you get some tweezers and just pop it. Very simple. Pop it in and out. Make sure that you the kill key, Gabriel. I'll say right now, this kill key. It is a twist style, but I wouldn't twist it because of the lights and wires and all that stuff in there. If it starts twisting, you might crank something up. Just pop. I have it set in where you're in deep sleep, so you don't need it. But when you recharge it, you're gonna have to pop it out and put a recharger in. Just pop it into where it sits, where it's not killing power, and just leave it in there. It just covers it up anyways. So.
The Jedi's weapon deserves more respect.
So you got, see, it's kind of, and again, this is going to be kind of hard to show because it's not really that dark, but you have one light that's kind of slow pulsing when it's in idle mode, and then power on, and you'll get your little scroll there, which I think is cool. You know, it just adds a little flair to the chamber when you're displaying it. Crystal looks good. It's real quartz. And then when you power down, I like when you power down. Kind of dances. Which is pretty cool. Oop. And then, of course, the crystal chamber will mimic your blade styles. So, whatever color your main LED is, your crystal's going to mirror it. But these accents are always going to be red. Now, the one drawback with this, Gabriel. Let's go back to a blue. Now, the one drawback I have with this chassis, and this is mostly for show anyways, I mean, you don't really want to duel with this lightsaber, is it's so, I guess just because it's so, so many vents and so many open areas and stuff like that, that the chassis is not very, like, strong, I guess. It's not very thick in areas. So the false clashes were kind of hard to deal with, especially with these Smoker's Outpost speakers. I originally put a bass speaker in it, but it was way too much. It was false clashing like crazy. We ended up going with the full range and turning the volume down. So you have to dance with the level of the volume so you don't have false clashes, because the chassis is vibrating so much that sometimes it'll trigger them. So I found a balance of volume that I think is pretty good. So I gotta make you a blade plug. This is exactly what it's gonna look like, but I haven't finished it yet. But that's the one I put in there. So your sound is still really good though. Activation is the bottom clamp activation, and top is your auxiliary. Put the blade in there. So with I still have some things that I need to finish on this guy. Gabriel's getting a display box that I'm making for him as well. I'm going to shave down the glass eye and it'll sit flush. You won't ever have to mess with it. So your retention will just be this guy, your blade retention. But as of right now, I haven't trimmed it down, so it's gonna poke out a little bit. And Gabriel got 3 sound fonts that he purchased and I put on for him. The Kyberphonic fonts, a New Hope Training, Force Effects Scrapflex, and Lord Blocko's Pitch Black. So this is the Scrapflex by Force, which is just really cool. One of my favorite graflex fonts for the sequel trilogy. The localized lockup. Blue always looks good on camera. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at it. That's pretty cool. You can see that X and LEDs kind of doing their thing in the chamber. Now, I would say don't really play with this with the body off, but I just wanted to show that off real quick. Especially if you, let's change the colors, we can see the blade and the crystal doing the same thing. So whatever color your crystal goes to, or your blade goes to, the crystal will follow. Which is cool. Alright, let's show off those other fonts. The rest of them are just stock fonts that the CFX has. This is the New Hope Training. Which is a great font. I believe Jesse is updating the swings for this also, or he's doing an update, I think, for this font. So be on the lookout for that if you own this one. And then of course for the training, A New Hope, double tap or hold down the button, the power button, to get the audio track. And you get the training droid.
I call it luck.
We got force waves.
Eyes can deceive you, don't trust them. Good against remotes is one thing. Good against the living is something else.
Kind of hard to activate the force waves just because of like how thick the top part is, because of all these greeblies. So you got to kind of find an area where you can press the auxiliary.
Yet I've flown from one side
and swing at the same time.
Eyes can deceive you, don't trust them.
So it is kind of hard to do, honestly.
Eyes can deceive you, don't trust them.
You just got to find that balance. Just the name of the game with this girthy boy at the top.
Pitch black.
And then pitch black. I love pitch black. Such a good dark side font. I love the way that the white ignition on the spark on ignition for red looks. It always looks so good. But yeah, man, this thing turned out really cool. I like it. So yeah, I'll be doing more finishing touches on it, Gabriel. I just wanted to do a video and show you guys how it looks and whatnot, and there's a lot of finishing touches I really do need to go on. Also, just a quick heads up, these are glued in because I don't know what it was, this core. These are TCSS size threaded brass pins, but this core was threaded. It was tapped for larger size. They would just barely, you know, they would fit, but they wouldn't thread in. And I tried like 5 different pairs, and then I finally was just like, oh, it's the core. Like, I thought I had a bunch of wrong size pins, but so, and if you ever have to take this top part off, which you really don't need to, you'd have to break the glue on these, but I don't think it'd be that hard. It's pretty much just E6000 in. But yeah, hope you like it, man. This thing's really fun, really comfortable. Whoa! Really comfortable to hold at the bottom, man. It's one of those ones that like the top is kind of crazy, but like at the waist section on down, it's very comfortable. Oh, another thing I really enjoy is when you do the when you go to sound bank selection, the bottom of the chamber, the LED on the board will light up the vent sections. Sorry guys, this is so hard to do. Let's just turn off all the lights. It will show
that lightsaber.
The Jedi's weapon deserves more respect.
Oh, you can see the Hesegawa vents a little better here now that the lights are off. We're in the dark. I never really turned off all the lights in here. I guess this is what I should have done from the beginning. Yeah, you can see that. See how there's like a metallic shine? There's a little micro mesh in there that shows that off.
Spectrum.
But yeah, really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. Lots of work went into it.
Spectrum.
There you go. There's your standby. Standby is set to a lot of the blue ones. On the other colors, it's not really going to have the standby. I'll have to look into that if you want me to switch them out, but whew, sounds crisp without that body on. All right, so there we go. I got one more thing before we go. Gabriel. I put another Shoto font on here because I wanted to put a music track on this for you. And I just didn't know where to put it, so I threw it on here. You can obviously delete it when you want to. So when Dylan was making this thing, long before he sold it to Gabriel, it had a mesh card, kind of like the same kind of mesh that's in there, and it didn't have the blue cobochones. These things, it was just 2 silver glass eyes, and it just like he was making it, and I was like, man, that thing's really steampunk. And then I was like, all this stuff, I was like, it actually kind of looks like a train. I was like, it's the train flex is what I was joking about. And so I was joking about how I was gonna put train sounds on it, and I gave you a little background track for you. Little steampunk lightsaber train. Sorry, I had to do it. Again, it's just a silly track. You can take it off if you want to. But it's yours to keep. All right, guys, that'll do it for this one. I got more coming along. I got a couple more videos to post up. The next few days, we'll be seeing a lot of videos, actually. So I'm going to be blowing up the channel. But thank you so much for watching, Gabriel. Thank you for your just insane patience on all this. You're a model customer, dude, straight up. So that'll do it. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video.
Who's scruffy looking?